just one messed up person.
I'm all lit up.
Ooh. Hi. Are we live?
Yeah, we're live.
Huh.
We lived it.
Well, good afternoon, and how are you?
Here, I'll do the quick.
Oh, what's in the box?
What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the fucking box? What's in the box? This is What's in the Box with Zach and Cheryl normally, but Cheryl is inside, and this is my dad.
Hi.
So it's Zach and John.
Zach and Dad.
Zach and Dad. So I want to preface this by saying this will come out on Father's Day.
Will it?
Yeah. So,
but we're talking tattoos and not Father's Day.
I was gonna start talking about Father's Day and we can get to the tattoos later.
Oh.
First of all, besides your eye falling out of your head,
yeah,
how you doing?
You know, I was with your mom at lunch today, and I said, you know, I actually feel really good. Besides the eye, I feel really good. I really, really feel good. And then I said, you know, I really don't know what 60 is supposed to feel like.
I've never been there.
That's what I said. I've never been there before, but I actually feel pretty good.
So maybe I'm doing worse than most 60-year-olds.
So I look. The only thing, and this is just a personal thing between you and I, and the
rest of the world.
You know, people say I got a bit of a weight problem.
Mm-hmm. How was it?
157. I never ever thought I did. Even when I look in the mirror, I have the build of a football player. I always knew that. Mm-hmm. And yes, I got a little in this here, but I never thought myself a fat. But I got to tell you, when you see somebody takes a picture of you, and then you look at the picture, you go, holy cow!
Who's that? That's not me.
How are you even walking around with all that?
Camera angle. It's all angles. It's all angles.
It could be, but so that's the only thing that trips me up occasionally. But as I said, I feel really good for whatever.
I said that too. Everybody said once you hit 30, and I know everybody says that about every milestone age.
Like, geez, you're old.
Yeah. They're like, once you hit 30, it all goes downhill. You start feeling it, and I never did. I mean,
when I hit 50,
even I thought hangovers would kick in at 30.
No. 50s. When I hit 50, I think it bothered me. I think I started having a little, this ache, this pain. 10 years later, I'm not. So it gets better. How's that?
It's that clean living.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's what I was told.
And like you said, no, I don't think I've ever had. I don't think I remembered a hangover since I was 20, and that was from excessive drinking. I do have.
I probably should have gone to the hospital instead of gone.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, I've overdrank whiskey, and I don't think I've had a hangover. I may have had a little bit of a headache. A couple aspirin takes care of that in 10 minutes. But no, good genes, I guess.
I guess.
You know, my dad was a heavy drinker.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
So the genetic part of it kind of went through.
We busted through all that other stuff. Yeah. So, since this will come out on Father's Day, I will ask you. So, how, looking back on your years and children and whatever, how is being a dad, or your perspective on being a dad? What's important? How about that?
What's important? What was important?
What is and was important?
You know, it's funny. I don't. This sounds bad.
I don't think about my kids.
No. What's funny is I don't. This sounds bad, but I don't set the bar very high. And when my kids have achieved that bar, then I'm comfortable. Meaning, nobody's in jail. Nobody's on drugs, kinda. Because, you know, pot's not a drug.
None of the bad ones.
Pot's not a drug. It's still legal in Wisconsin. Yeah, but they're going to legalize it. Well, until they do, come back and talk to me. But, you know, I've said this to your mom, and I think I said this to you too, that your mom, she may have been drinking one night, and she got really teary, weepy, and what's wrong? And she goes, we have 5 kids, and they're all different. And I go, yeah, so?
Like a printing press.
If we raise them, if we raise them, shouldn't they be the same? And I said, no, they grow up and they live their own lives. And I look at all of my kids and say, I'm very happy because I think they found their path.
Mm-hmm.
And that path might change, but I don't see any of my kids, unless they're not being honest with me. I don't see everybody going, God, I hate my life, And you make your life for what it is. And if you're not happy, change it. But I don't see my kids that way. And I'm very happy. You have all the way from Tiffany, and I won't even do that. But you have the gamut of, my daughter has a master's degree, and Amanda is a housewife and mother, and but that's really what she wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can't gauge it on education at all. I try to gauge it on happiness, and I know she's happy, and that's all that matters to me, is that my kids are happy. Are you happy?
Did you? Yeah. I'll tell. Oh, by the way, you can ask me questions.
Can I?
I forgot. Yeah.
Oh, I just did.
I forget.
And you didn't answer.
No, I'm good. Yes.
No, I'm good.
Samesies.
Samesies.
No, I will answer your question, but I was gonna say is, me and you have talked, and I just talked to Megan actually yesterday. She came into town, and I said it on the podcast me and her did. Did you always have a thought? I kind of know that answer, but did you always have a thought of wanting to be a parent, or was it kind of like? I wouldn't say it kind of happened and then you had to be one, but like, did you always have a thought of like, eventually when you were younger, like eventually I do want the kids and the wife and the whatever, or did it kind of happen organically?
No.
Ish.
No. Again, no disrespect toward anyone. Because as my wife said,
I was tricked.
Keep drumming this in my head. Sometimes things are bigger than you.
Mm-hmm.
But I have been thinking of you a lot lately, that you have this opportunity.
That's nice.
That when I was 19, started dating your mom, 18, 19, when I was dating your mom, I had tunnel vision of, I want to get married. I want to have kids right away, because when my kids are 18, 20, then they will be moving out of the house and it'll be just your mom and I.
And I have all this.
Yep.
All this time.
Mm-hmm. And it happened. I mean, we adopted Kimberly when she was very young, so that kind of pushed that number out a little, that age out a little bit. But I still got where I wanted to go until we started watching Tiffany's kids for a while. But then again, as I said, last night was the first night for a long time.
They got to sit around in your underwear?
I sat around, well, we didn't, I did. Sat around in underwear and t-shirt going, isn't this peaceful? I don't hear anybody interrupting me. I could actually look at my wife and go, so what do you think of this? And she can answer without being interrupted.
So what are you thinking? Sex? Yeah?
Yeah, that's on the table now. Whereas before it wasn't, So yeah, it's but no, I did. I had a vision of, this is how I want to kind of plan my personal life, is get married, have kids. Didn't even have the forethought of adoption at all until it happened. And again, you do what you do. And again, I wouldn't trade any of it for nothing. Your mom has asked me that too, is, would you have changed anything? No, not a bit. To be a dad, I loved coaching you guys. I really did. I loved watching you learn how to run.
God, you just keep bringing it up.
I know that. It's just, if you have a problem with Wyatt and that happens and he accomplishes that, you'll get it. I had a big peak and a valley like that with Brandon. I pushed Brandon hard to play baseball when we were in Seymour. He didn't want to. No way, no how. So, but you're good. And he did, and I literally forced him to. And he played a couple games, and It was okay. And then he got a game-winning hit, and he lit up like you. And I
was there.
I said, this is why I pushed you. And he was so happy. And all the cool kids invited him over to a pool party, and he said, no, I don't want that. And which was kind of weird to me, but that's who he is. And then he quit. I did my thing, and I quit.
I've kind of said that about the things, and I understand now, looking back on it, how frustrating it must have been as a parent. But like I've said that about me, that's kind of how I've done most of the things I'm good at, is just to get to that like good hit, or like that good, like, oh, I am good at this,
and then go down a different avenue.
Yeah, and then be like, okay, I know I'm good at this, so like, let's try something else. And I know that must have been like semi frustrating, especially like
it was,
especially like for the running thing, like to have that moment with the both of us, but have that moment of like that happening and being like, so you're gonna keep doing this? So it's like, no, I'm good.
I did what I did.
Or like the drum lessons the same way, of like, this kid's better than most that I've seen come in here this early, this fast, and I was like, I'm all right.
Yeah, I know my dad had the same thing. When I was young, when I was a teenager, when I was 14, I think, I had a rocket for an arm. I played a lot of baseball. I played the outfield because I had a rocket for an arm. When I got into football in high school, I dislocated my shoulder and it never recovered. And he got really, I think my dad had got angry with me twice, maybe 3 times. Once when I was 4, so that doesn't really count because I was throwing a baby fit and I didn't want to put my snow pants on. But that was one of the times that he got very angry at me. Throw the ball like you know how. And I'm like, I can't. Can't is not in your vocabulary. I can't. I literally, I really tried for him to throw as hard as I could, and I couldn't. And it hurt my shoulder, and it didn't work out. So you take a different avenue.
So to go back to answer your question, yes, I am happy.
Are you?
Yes. Yes, I really am. I have never, nor am I ever disappointed or unhappy with the life that I have. The only times where I'm disappointed or unhappy at all is with the things around that. Like having to work so much, having to work a shift that I don't get to see my family, or not making enough to provide for my family. Those having to be like, having to tell the girls especially, like, you can't go to the skate rink this week because I can't give you that $10 because I need that $10 to get to work until we get paid. Like, that stuff bothers me. But as far as like, the girls or Cheryl and stuff like that, no, I'm always happy with that.
It's funny you say that because, the boys have been living with me, and they usually don't ask me for money. I do pay Peanut for chores that he does or doesn't do, trying to teach him that lesson. And I have also said to him, if you were working for me, you'd have been fired a long time ago because, slacking is not something that people put up with. But
you can't put in vacation day of.
But it's funny to me that they come at Tiffany. Well, just buy us this, Mom. Well, just buy us this. They have no concept. It takes money, and
which I've said. I mean, we'll see over time if it was a good or bad parenting decision, but for the most part, I'm not saying like completely honest with the girls about our financial well-being as a family, but we have been very honest with the girls of like, we don't got it. Like, we gotta pay this. We're short on this. We got, like, very honest.
By the way, we don't have lights because you wanted to go to the skating rink. but hey, it's the choices you make.
but very honest to the point where they and I don't know. I've told Cheryl, I was like, well, no, we'll figure it out over time, I guess. But I don't know if they take it as a burden per se of like, well, I don't want to ask because I don't know if mom and dad have the money for it, and I don't want it to be a reason that kind of like the Christmas thing when you know you don't have money, you don't want to ask for the big present because you don't want to. Well, they're not gonna. I don't know if
I'll take the block of wood.
I don't know if it's that or if they just consciously think about that. Because I know that there's a few times Emma has done that of like, no, it's fine. But they are conscious of it to the point where it's not like that. It's not like sorry, this week we can't because we need gas, and it's not a baby fit of like, well, why? Well, why?
Well, that's good. At least, but again, it's good that they understand that.
Yeah.
I don't think some kids do.
I like the little things, and maybe you can agree with me on this or not. But I like the little things of being a dad, of being a parent.
Like
I don't know, it's gonna sound dumb, but I have a bracelet. I've had it for 3 years now. I have a bracelet of a natural stone for cultivation and anxiety, and it's helped. I don't know. Maybe I told Cheryl, I was like, maybe
even
it
if it's a mental thing, it
I was
still
like,
helps.
maybe it doesn't help, but it makes me feel better, and I feel like it helps. But so I got for Christmas, I got the girls both bracelets specifically for them. Emma's is calming and anxiety, and Alice's is for depression. And they're natural. You believe in that? They're natural stones that are supposed to pull that energy. And they've worn them since then. Like it wasn't like it's not. I don't know. It's not like a see. I'm wearing your bracelet thing. It's just I've noticed since Christmas that for the most part they wear them every single day, and it's little things like that.
Yeah.
I told Cheryl that it's little things like that I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then the whole development. I mean, with the girls, things like that I really like with the girls because like it's the little things that I appreciate about them specifically is because like, and I've said this to Cheryl, I never pushed when me and Cheryl first got together. I never pushed like I'm that father parent in your life. I kind of just let it come to me and kind of just was like, here if you need me, sort of thing.
Osmosis thing.
but more of like I wasn't going to be that person. I always had that thought that I hate the idea of your mom gets married or in a relationship and that person comes in and goes, my rules now.
Yeah.
And so I never did that with the girls, and we have both of my relationship with both girls are different, but it was never pushed on that. It kind of just came as it will. And so like things like that I appreciate because I'm like, okay, we don't have, like I said, it's not like a see I'm wearing like it's like, oh. But like with Wyatt, not just because like he's me and Cheryl's kid, but like I never got to see the development of the girls.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they were young. Like Alice was 5 or 6 when we first got together. So they were young. They were young to where I got.
They were youngish.
Yeah. To where I got like I've said, for both the girls now, I've been in their life for more than half their life now. For both of them. But like Wyatt, I get to see like
the light bulbs.
Yeah, the development, the going from mumbling to making out words, the figuring out what words are what, the like having the thing that blows my mind is the imagination part of it. Is him figuring out like his world and like figuring out putting the pieces of things in his world together in like his imaginary world. Like the other day we were sitting outside and like me and Cheryl are talking and he's like playing in the back with the basketball hoop or whatever. And he starts walking and he starts going roof, 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 roof. And Cheryl was like, oh, are you playing Paw Patrol or whatever? Because he doesn't like Paw Patrol, but he likes the Paw Patrol YouTube thing. He knows all the characters of Paw Patrol, hates the show. He will not watch it. But Cheryl's like, "Are you doing the Paw Patrol? Who's coming to save you?" And he just kept doing it. And so I walked over, and he has Bluey and Bingo on the bottom of his shoes. So he was making them walk with him.
Yeah.
It's seeing stuff like that, like him like put like things. That's cool.
We had a discussion at lunch today about a couple of our grandsons, and I'm sure you're I'm sure you're aware of The Big Bang Theory and Young Sheldon.
Yep.
Jordan is a huge fan of Young Sheldon.
No shit.
To the point is, I think he relates a lot. And I said to your mom, I'm like, yeah, he should go talk to Braylon. Yeah. Braylon's on that road too, you know.
Oh, I have a. I won't say that here, but I have something to remind me of that when we're done with this.
Remind you of Young Sheldon?
Yeah, because I have something to tell you about that.
So it's funny because Jordan, we haven't had a chance until recently to spend a lot of time with him, and Jordan has been very closed up for the most part. Mm-hmm. But it's funny when you watch a show like Young Sheldon and Big Bang Theory is an example is Jordan had a plate of fries. Mm-hmm. And your mom is like, "Can I have one of those?" And he goes, "Don't touch my fries. Mm-hmm. If you touch my fries, I cannot eat any of my fries." Mm-hmm. And it's like, ooh, wow. Yeah. So he relates really well.
Mm-hmm. Were there times?
Were there times when I hated my kids?
Obviously, no.
Oh.
No, but there are moments, like we've talked about, moments that as a parent you're really proud of and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Are there moments that stick out in younger versions of your children to where like kind of like where Wyatt is, where he's like developing and figuring stuff out, where you were like, I don't know if surprised is the word.
As a young kid, I don't remember because I'm old, you know.
Got a lot of years to look past.
Yeah. No, the things that have always stuck out. I mean, like with you, this is the running thing, obviously. Mm-hmm. With you telling me that you got put on a line that has been shitty forever, and you turned it around, things like that. And I told Tiffany, I go, he is getting it, isn't he?
Accomplishments.
Well, yeah. Brandon in the baseball story I just told was a huge one. Brandon moving from you were his in. You and Cheryl was his in at Psalms. And I get that, but for a kid like Brandon to take that step, to
take that jump.
Mm-hmm. Do a jump from 1919 to there was huge, and I was so happy for him. And although that's, I don't know that he bitches about it, but he kind of bitches about his job. Mm-hmm. But I'm very proud of him that he
did that in the first place.
But walks on his own now, so to speak. I mean, Hallie was there in the beginning, and I'm sure that helped him, and he could see, how she set this up, and he just took it from there when she left. Mm-hmm. But for a kid, and you're not kids anymore, but for a kid to have a kid and take full responsibility himself, that makes me very proud. I don't want to go into he got a new car. Mm-hmm. Did you see it? Mm-hmm. He got new license plates, personalized license plates. I'd have to pull it up. It's JJH2-1.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. So I thought that was really good. And so to see, especially from where Brandon came from to where Brandon is now is huge to me. Tiffany, I'm very proud of Tiffany. There are a lot of things in all my kids that I would change, but it's so funny. I tend to needle her occasionally. Your dad put his foot up your ass a lot to get you where you are. No, you didn't. I did it all on my own. Okay, you keep believing that. You know, Amanda is another story that I like to tell people too. Is if you knew where she came from, and all she really wanted to be was a mom, and get married and have a family, and she got that. Sometimes I don't think she forgets that. I don't think she does. But sometimes people need to be reminded of where they came from and what they have now. Sometimes people don't remember that at all. And Kimberly is the same way. Kimberly wanted a man.
Yeah.
And I don't think she could have got a better guy.
I will forever say that.
I'm not going to quote Tiffany, but in so many words, I think Tiffany said, "If you ever leave him, we're punching you in the face."
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty close.
He is a great guy, a great supporter, in so many ways.
I said that to Tiffany because me and her talked about that too, and I was like, I can because she's my sister. I can talk shit about Kimberly all day long if I really wanted to, but the odds are she got lucky, and I know that he maintains. He'll say it till the day he dies. Probably he maintains that he's the lucky one. He got lucky getting her and having the kids and everything. And I'm glad he feels that way. But in reality, and I said this to Tiffany, in reality, she's the lucky one, and not anything to do with his with her personality, or that she's hard to handle, or anything like that. But it has nothing to do with that. It's just if you look statistically at how young they were when she got pregnant.
Yep. And the odds
that somebody would be as great a husband and dad as he is, and as loving as he is, are very, very small. And the fact that he hasn't done anything, I mean, that any of us know about, anything negative in the entire time, and all of their kids that they have, and just stood by her no matter what, and stood by those kids, the odds of finding somebody like that is very, very minimal.
Correct.
And then when you add on top of that, her personality and having to provide
kid after kid after kid,
and how consecutive those kids were, and having to provide for that family in times solely, and the stress of that, and like I said, just having somebody that young really get through it, get through it, but he really got it, and he still get. I send him a message almost once a year.
Wow, don't go overboard.
No. But I send it to him once every year, and not like on the same day. Like I'm reminded of it. I should send him this, but just he's on my mind in the same aspect. And I send him a message, and I'm like, hey, just so you know, you're doing a great job. Like, one, I feel like that is overlooked with dads and parents in general, is that that's not said enough. I was like, hey, you're doing all right. Like, you're doing fine. But I do. I send him a message every once in a while, every year, and it's like, hey, just so you know, like, you're doing fine. Like, don't worry about it. But he gets it. He got the, I mean, for somebody that has only a high school education, he has gotten, since Kimberly got pregnant, he has gotten the long game. He's gotten I only make moves to make more money. I only make moves to either make more money or get more time with my family, or get a better life for my family. It's always up. It's never selfish. It's never,
I agree.
Well, I want to do this. His mindset is always, I need to keep pushing for this.
Yep.
Granted, he doesn't really have a whole lot of choice because he's got like 7 kids, but he's always had that.
It's only 3.
But he's always had that push. And like I said, finding a guy that young with all of those attributes, very, very minimal.
I have a great saying that I came up with a couple years ago that I said to your mom that I should tell him, if you ever need it, this is in your back pocket. I have no problem treating you like a princess. Just don't act like one. That usually puts people in check really fast. What? Sorry.
Or starts an argument really fast. Either one.
It hasn't. It's usually she steps back and okay. But yeah, I can't tell. It's weird because we have 5 kids, and as I said in the beginning, that oh my God, they grew up all different, and everything. But all of you did, but all of you came to a place that you wanted to be. You're not, oh my God, my life sucks.
Yeah.
None of my kids have said that. And that's what makes me happy.
Is that no matter where we got to
in life,
we all got to the point of like, I'm good.
Yeah, to me, and this is with myself too, to me, it doesn't, money is not it, status is not it. All it is if you're happy. And that's huge to me, no matter where you are in your life. So keep yourself happy.
Thanks.
Even if it takes drinking a lot.
I only get to drink once a week. It's not like I'm drinking every day.
That you know of.
I take breaks.
I only have a little drink at work. I take vodka. Nobody knows I'm drinking.
Okay, no. I wanna bring this up because I thought this was so funny. So when I was on second shift, right, one of my operators, I've said this. I'll tell this story just because this makes the rest of what I was going to say funny. So when I left, I got a bunch of hugs. When I left second shift to go to third shift, I got a bunch of hugs from everybody. Oh, we're going to miss you. And the recurring thing that I heard over all of them was, thanks for helping out. I really appreciate that you were out there. I really appreciate that you. And I told Cheryl, I was like, it was nice to hear, but also like, why is that such a big thing? Like that bothered me. That I'm like, literally, you're so grateful that just somebody was out there helping you. Like that is the bare minimum work I could have done. And it's like, anyway. But so my operator, the day before my last day, was like, what kind of liquor do you drink? And I thought he was just fucking around because like, we like mess around all the time. And I was like, Jack. And he goes, all right. And so my last day, at work, he gave me a bottle of Jack. I just thought that was so nice. I thought that was so cool.
I forgot I was going to bring up one more thing that I told Tiffany that she didn't agree with me. And I said, ask your brother and see what he thinks. The movie Whiplash.
What about it?
Good job is the 2 worst words you can say to your kid.
I have. Yes, I agree with that, but I have a different perspective on that point. I think me and Tiffany are 2 different examples of that. I think it depends on your definition of being better. Because you could say that worked with Tiffany for the most part. That you did that. You pushed her and pushed her and pushed her, and she has a master's in nursing right now.
I didn't do that.
Well, whatever. Regardless, you can say that it worked.
Yeah.
But also, you pushed me, and I pushed back and didn't want to do it, and I ended up here.
And but as I said, but I told her, I think he's getting it now. Took him a little longer, but he's getting it.
But 2 different. But like I said, the way I don't know, I appreciate people that respond to that, because I don't. I really don't. You push me, I'm gonna tell you to fuck off, and I might eventually get to that. Like with the Whiplash reference, I might get to the point where I can do that, but I'm gonna do it when I do it, and I'm gonna figure it out myself.
I was gonna say that too.
Whereas some people need that. Some people need somebody to make them cry and bleed and whatever to get to a point where they're like, oh, now you see.
Better than you've ever thought you could be.
So, although yes, I feel like it also, I don't know. I think, I've always said this. I think the idea of you're wasting your potential, I feel like is not a lack of push. It's a personal thing. I feel like if somebody is going to be Like I use. No, I'm not going to use that reference. I use musicians as as references. They're always going to be who they turned out to be. Kurt Cobain was always going to be Kurt Cobain.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Cornell was always going to be Chris Cornell. But those two specifically, for sure, wouldn't. Dave Grohl was always going to be Dave Grohl. But they weren't going to get to those spots with somebody going again.
True.
They had to get there in their own way. They had to get there in
True.
their own. Dave Grohl the same way. He had lessons and he figured it out. But when he started doing guitar over drums, he taught himself. He figured it out. He figured it out himself.
I was going to go down that road and say, I at some point in my life, and it was very young, not young teenager, but young 20s maybe, late 20s. If you said good job to me, that means nothing to me. The only person that means anything to me is me looking in the mirror.
Yep.
You could give me this big, I could care less about a trophy. I could care less about accolades at all. If I felt I did good, then I feel good. I could care less what anybody else thinks. And I think your mom and I argue about that a lot. And I said, that's how people should be. And she goes, that's your opinion. That some people need praises to make them feel better.
Yeah, but also I feel like it's, and I've said this, I feel like that personal gratification of knowing, maybe it's the ego side of it, but I feel like that is better. I feel like if you strive to always need that accolade of like you're doing a good job or you're doing this, yes, it's nice. And it's nice that people give it. But I feel like if you it's kind of like relying on a drug to make you feel better instead of dealing with the problem that's making you not feel good.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
The drug is good and it makes you feel good and it cures what
morphine
it is.
Makes me not have pain anymore.
But if you don't have it, then you're back to square one and you're back. Whereas if you know you did good or you know that you're doing good or you're good at these things or whatever, it doesn't matter what anybody says. It doesn't matter if nobody tells you for years that you're not good at something. You know that you are.
Correct.
And again, I think some of that may be ego, but I think that part is good for people. Because if you're always chasing approval, then I don't know. I feel like you're not.
You're not true to yourself.
No, I don't know how. I don't know what I would say to that. And again, because I get some of that from you, I would rather be like, I'm really fucking good at this than wait for somebody to tell me I'm really good at it. Like I would like to walk around.
But don't lie to yourself either, by the way.
But proven wise.
Okay, there you go.
If I can step up to the plate and go, let's go in there with all confidence in the world and make it happen.
I side story to that real quick. I had a 5-10 year stint doing that. And I told your mom, I said I had a flashback, and she's like, what? And at a real University of Wisconsin Oshkosh, we're playing college baseball. We're playing somebody, Minnesota. And in the bottom of the 11th, a guy just whacked this homer. And he didn't point, or anything, but he did. But as soon as he hit it, the bat goes flying and he goes to his team. And that was, and I go, man, I miss those moments. I miss those moments a lot. But it was fun. It was part of those memories. But back to the dad days. Yeah. So we were talking about that today too. Is any plans for Father's Day?
Me? No.
2:35.
Working.
Are you working Sunday?
Yeah.
And I said, what time?
I gotta be there at 8.
I said, your sons probably have to work.
Yeah.
And I said, this sounds bad, and I don't mean it this way. And I said, all of them are parents now, I said, I'm okay if they come over. Mm-hmm. I'm okay if they don't, because you and Brandon are dads and you can have your own Father's Day. Mm-hmm. Also, my other kids have their own father, except for Tiffany, but I said, so why don't you care? And I go, because they have their own families. Mm-hmm. And so it's not that big a deal to me. I've had enough Father's Days. I'm okay. I'll be okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
And then there's going to be a message going, I would really like to see my kids.
I'd really like a new motorcycle if y'all want to pitch in and give me one.
It is Father's Day.
Yeah. For me. Me.
No, so you can use that on your wife as a pity party. You can be like, we could have sex tonight. It is Father's Day. We could
That's
go
disgusting.
out. We could go out. It is Father's Day.
Well, you know what she would say? You could take me out for fun. She goes, I'm not your father. Or I'm not your kid.
So,
yes.
We got time, because that was only a half an hour.
Yeah. So you want to talk about tattoos now?
Yeah. So, I know that in your day and age, tattoos were a bit of a no-go.
Well, you're not going to heaven, are you?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Some religion says that, don't they?
I don't think that if there is a heaven, I don't think God's gonna be like, well, you were nice people, you did do a good job, but
no, I don't think that's gonna happen. I do have a question.
Also, he has a tattoo. It says it in the Bible for all you people that say that tattoos are bad for religion. I can't. I wish I would have been prepared, but this just popped in my head. That's why I said it. But there is a verse in the Bible that when Jesus comes back, he has a tattoo on his thigh, I think.
Really?
Something.
It says mom.
Something like that. I can't remember what it was, but it's in there.
So I have a question about tattoos. I thought of this on the way down here. Is how many tattoos do you have?
I hate that question.
Because you don't know?
No,
if you don't know, then you've got too many.
If I piece them together, because most of them are meant to be pieced together, that's why I'd say roughly 30 if I do them by when I got them, like individually.
So the question I had was, do all of them have meaning?
Close to 100. To me, yeah.
Because I may have...
They're not as concrete as like I have a cross because of God or like stuff like that. They're not as like concrete meanings, but yeah, all of them have meanings to me.
Well, the reason I say that is because I may have told you this, that when I got the tattoo of the
heartbeat,
going from my dad to my kids,
I gave you shit for it.
No. The guy doing it, he's like, well, what is it? I said, well, this is my dad, and these are my kids around my arm, and this is connecting my dad. Oh, and he was bigger than me, and he's got tattoos all over him. And he goes, oh, well, that's kind of cool that you're getting a tattoo that means something to you. He goes, this tattoo over Jack, he had a Jack Daniels. I don't know when that got put on me. And he's like pointing these out like, these mean nothing. I don't know what they're. And so I struggle thinking about things like this of why and Ra got into my head, why people do what they do. And so you go, okay, well, I know why I have mine, but I do understand the pain therapy that, I need to get a tattoo because this kind of in some way makes me feel better. And so I get that too. But for a guy to go, yeah, I don't know where this one came from. Well, come on.
I've said this before, and this is where I feel like people fall into the trap of tattoos. Obviously you know this, which granted, you're 60 now and you don't have a whole lot of tattoos, so good for you.
I got 6, I think.
But I'm saying like not like over an abundance.
No.
I'm already halfway there, but if I was 60 out of
I go one every 10 years. How's that?
Doesn't fucking matter. But I think people fall in the trap of they get a tattoo and they go, oh, this is really easy. Like this is like not just the pain part of it, but just like I can have a thought and have this like on here. And they fall in the trap of it. It always starts out, and Cheryl gives me shit about this tattoo all the time. Because it's like the most generic tattoo that guys get out of high school is they get the cross with whatever.
Yeah.
And she gives me shit about that all the time. But it always starts out with meaning. For the most part, people get tattoos and it starts out, and then they get in the headspace of like, oh, okay. So the next one is something with meaning, but kind of like not as thought out. And then over time, it gets to like, this is a bad example because I think this is a genius tattoo, but getting like "we" on your knee, so it's weenie. But like shit like that. Yeah. Like it eventually starts like getting into stuff like that of like I can do it. So like this in the moment sort of thing. Which I'm not over getting dumb tattoos. I have dumb tattoos, but there are things that still mean something to me. Like I have. These ones I did myself because Cheryl got me a tattoo gun, which is I don't regret any of my tattoos. I have a tattoo that I don't like because of that. Because when I got a tattoo gun, I was practicing, and I have a thing on my thigh, which all of the little, it was Alice in Wonderland. I was practicing. All the little things I did on my thigh were great. They look good. For somebody fairly new doing them, they look good, but I started trying to shade, and I shaded around it all, and it makes the whole thing look like shit. So like, I don't regret the fact that I have it. I just wish I would have waited to have somebody else do it. Whereas like this right here, my like little bat that I have, that was impulsive, but it's not. It makes me laugh, which is why I tattooed it. It was because I drew it one day and I laughed, and I was like, this is funny. And I kept thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? This is always going to make me laugh. And so I tattooed it on there, and it does. It makes me laugh. It's a bat with a bow tie. It's funny. But like, I've said this to people that I will never tell anybody with the tattoos that I have. I'm the worst example, but I will never tell anybody to not get a tattoo. What I will tell people is to let it sit, to give it some time.
Yeah. So you have an idea, but don't jump and go out and get it right now. Think about it.
Because it might change. And I'm not saying you should.
You could have been drunk when you were thinking.
I'm not. Well, and I'm not saying you should wait 10 years to get a tattoo, although that's a pretty good idea. But I wouldn't say wait 10 years. Like, you don't have to wait like half your life to get a tattoo. I get a tattoo every year for my birthday. But I think you should at least give it time to see if you still want it. Like, I have a tattoo on my ribs that I drew. It just came up on my time hop, actually, or on my memories. I have a tattoo on my ribs. There's a Green Day song that I've always liked, and there's a line in there that says, "I wear my heart on a noose." And I always liked that line. I liked that line for a really long time. I also have a Motley Crue line that I couldn't get it this time. I'm probably gonna get it next year, but that I'm gonna get on my chest too.
No regrets.
I think we did this all too fast.
Yeah.
I thought because I've always liked that line, and then like as I told Cheryl this because I was gonna get it this year, but I got that one instead. But I told Cheryl I've always liked that line, and as I'm getting older, I like that line even more because it hits harder. Because I look back on, and I'm only 31, and I look back on 31 years, and I'm like, it doesn't even seem that long.
Try 60.
It's
Try
like,
60 sometime, you know?
So that...
And you know this. What my dad said is in the blink of an eye, you're going to be there. And what happened? Where'd the time go?
And so that was one that I've... But also that one, you know, I let sit for a while. I haven't got it. I haven't got it yet. I was going to get it this year because I thought it was fitting that I'm over 30.
Yeah.
But... Like, also, I've let those things sit for a while, and that one specifically, the Green Day one that I have on my ribs, that changed over time. That first drawing I made that came up on my memories today was from 7 years ago. That's completely different than what I got. And like luckily I've been able to design my own tattoos. Like even being like, hey, I have an idea, and then the tattoo artist draws it up, and me being like, I kind of want like this here and this here. I've been, because there as sad as it is, there aren't a lot of tattoo artists that are willing to do that. For the most part, if you come in with no reference and you go, hey, I kind of want this, and they give you their drawing or whatever, 9 times out of 10, you got to take their drawing. Or they're going to be like, well, you can find somebody else to do it. I've
come up with your own then.
I've been very fortunate for the fact that I've got to pretty much design all of my tattoos. But that's what I tell people is that just give it time, even if it's a couple months. Because your perspective's going to change too.
That was we haven't done it yet, but we've talked about it. And your mom probably won't listen or hear this. But I may do that for our 40th. We talked about, because I can't wear rings in a plant, as you know. And so my ring is on my keychain. But we both talked about getting rings, and we just never have. So maybe I'll do that. Surprise.
So has your mindset on tattoos changed over time?
I will tell you,
because you lived in the dark ages.
What you just said about let it sit, I probably wouldn't have done that. I thought it was cool. I did think about it for a week, but we were in COVID, and they gave us COVID money,
and I needed to spend
it. I had to spend it, so I bought a Jack Daniels tattoo, and it obviously didn't turn out the way I wanted to. So that regret, that's the only regret I have, but
but not really the tattoo itself, just how it turned out.
Yeah. I feel that I'm a lot different than a lot of people.
Than me.
That will look at you, you're a good example, and go, he's got tattoos on, I don't know, whereas I try to talk to a person to see who they are. So if I'm interviewing you as an example, and I also told Peanut that too, not about tattoos, but unfortunately the hiring people are old white guys who wouldn't like this, who wouldn't possibly like him, just because of the color of his skin. And I said, it's very unfortunate, and it bothers the hell out of me, but you have to understand that's what
it is.
Yeah.
I've said this to Cheryl. It's my
so here's my point. Point though. So you say that, and where you're working now and what you're doing now, it has no bearance on anything. But there's going to come a time where maybe you might want to, and now it's going to be a problem to that old white guy sitting across the table from you.
I told Cheryl, and you're gonna laugh at me. I don't know where this comes from. Because as far as I know, you don't have it, and I know my mom doesn't. But so I don't know where this comes from. Maybe the cultivation of the both of you. But I have a very big problem being a part of the system. I really do not like it. I really do not like the idea of it. I don't like being that I have to act or do a certain thing to make money, to make what money I need to survive. I hate that whole ideology of being part of the system. So
do something about it.
So this is my way of making myself feel better. And I told Cheryl this. I was like, it's not solely of like, I'm gonna get a tattoo on my hands because I just want to piss some people off. Like they all, like I said,
isn't that part of it?
But it is. It is to a point though. Like I don't think I really recognized that internal want until after I got my neck done. The first one. when we went to Nevada, because I didn't even think about that when we were in Nevada. I literally got it because that's the crow is for Cheryl, and that's the side that she used to put her neck, like she used to put her head on. That was it. That was the only reason why it went on my neck. It had nothing to do with I want people to see this. It had nothing to do with that. But over time, with the tattoos that I've gotten, like the ones on my hands and stuff, it became part of like, because people would make comments about it, of like, well, I don't know if I would have put it there. Well, I don't know if I would have kept it up here where you can wear a t-shirt and not just old white guys like you, but a lot of people, even people my age, were like, and that always bothered me. And so like I realized over time that part of that is my pushback to that, and mentally.
Screw the system.
Yeah, is like, fuck you guys. Like, I'm not good at my job that I've been doing for 9 years. All of a sudden, because I got a tattoo on my hand, or because I got a tattoo on my neck, all of a sudden I'm not as good as I was before. Like, I just think that's I think that's dumb.
I found it funny because for some reason, what sticks in my head, I'll say it now, but it comes into my head a lot, is, well, Brad Pitt has one that goes down in his hand, and how could he get a job if he's like this? Yep. Oh, but he's a celebrity, so that really doesn't count. But knowing that, when you're in an interview and you go, and the guy looks down and you got this tattoo coming out of your sleeve.
Especially Brad Pitt, because he could literally, and not to say that Brad Pitt is the everyman, because he's fucking not. Nobody looks like Brad Pitt except for Brad Pitt. No. But like, he looks
Hold on, how about this?
But he looks like one of those people that could go into an interview like a normal person. And and that's what I always found dumb about the whole like thought process of tattoos, is that somebody like him, who's arguably one of the greatest actors ever, could in a normal person's world go in for an interview and they'd be like, no.
Exactly.
But only because he's in the space that he is, he's allowed to have those tattoos in a way of, they're like, oh, that's artistic. Yeah. Oh, he's allowed to do that because he's just expressing himself.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that people look at your skin, and that's I'm trying to over exemplify not only your skin, but how you dress and how you talk, instead of thinking, okay, but could you functionally do the job that I want you to do? And could you do it better than anybody else? And unfortunately, people don't look at
that part of it.
Yeah, they look at, because you have these tattoos, you're never going to be able to do this job.
I think.
Who are you?
I think clothes things bother me. We've talked about that. The clothes things bother me. I have a really hard time that people accept suits over anything else. But what bothers me about the tattoos and that is, if I have a resume, right, that you're looking at as a hiring person, I've been in interviews, you've been in interviews on both sides. If I have a resume that says I have a master's in this, I have an undergrad in this, I have this, I have 10, 15 plus years experience doing this job, blah, 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 whatever, and you're looking at this, and you go, this is well beyond anybody that we have doing this job. And then I walk in, or you walk in.
But we'll let you know.
Yeah, or I walk in and I have tattoos.
You walk in and I go, that's the first thing I'm thinking is, we'll let you know.
Yeah, or like I have a sweatshirt that looks kind of dingy or something to that effect, and you go, I don't think he's going to work out. Yeah. I never understood that. It should be based on, and I understand the perspective of a company, of if you have investors and you have people coming in, you want them to see, quote, the cookie cutter people that look nice, that make everybody
pretty,
nice.
Pretty people.
Yeah. But also, if you're looking at it at a business standpoint of making your business better, why would you put that off as somebody who,
I agree,
who is going to do that based off of something little like that?
So taking a tour through the plant, and and your customer says, "Oh, look at that guy over there. He's full of tattoos," and oh, that's Zach. But let me tell you what Zach can do.
Mm-hmm.
And people should say that,
and they don't. They
don't.
They don't kick back on that. They let whoever the investor,
the
whatever,
customer
say that, and they go, "Well, yeah, but he doesn't really do a whole lot around here because we kind of." And not in those words, but they kind of instead of sticking up for their person, so to speak, they kind of push it off to the side of like, well, yeah, but that's just one person that we have here. The rest of them look like you approve of.
Yeah,
I think as far as the workplace goes, and we got a long way to go. I will in no way say that we're close because we're not, but I feel like it's getting better as far as work goes. Acceptance of tattoos.
I think so too.
I think people are starting to understand that it's not as huge as the older white guys would make it out to be.
Speaking of, did you hear the latest about tattoos?
No.
That tattoo artists think the surge has peaked and it's going down, that less people are getting tattoos now, and there are tattoo artists that are worried that but they're all saying, "Yeah, we'll figure it out. Don't worry."
I don't think so. One, yes, you may.
That was a national news story, by the way.
I'll probably lift the veil for those that don't know, but if you don't know, then you're not paying attention. Yes, tattoo artists are probably going to make a lot or lose a lot of money if people stop getting tattoos because they're double the price of ink. They make so much money. They make so much overhead.
Mm-hmm.
Even time, labor, even if you take that out of the equation, they're making so much overhead for what they really have to do.
I think you should be able to haggle.
Like
too many tattoo artists are so arrogant.
Set a price, and
this is $300. I understand that, but I got 200. I think it's worth 200.
I've said this,
and they get offended.
I've said this on record. Actually, you got fucked on this tattoo. I think about what you paid for this tattoo when I first got it. Mm-hmm. You got fucked on this tattoo because I got this for less than half the price, and it's the same size.
Yeah, I think you should be able to haggle, and there is enough tattoo artists out there to go, okay, you think it's worth 3? I think it's worth 2. I'll find somebody that'll do it for 2.
It wasn't.
Well, it won't be the same. You know what?
It probably won't.
It could be better quality than what you got.
But and there are older tattoo art, and again, this also has gotten better over time too. But there was older tattoo artists that would say that because it was people had specialties. Mm-hmm. So there was I've said this for years. Sailor Jerry specialized in traditional tattoos, but he was the best to do it, and there wasn't a whole lot that had his style, and he had his own personal style that he had and his own technique that he had that was different than everybody else. So he could set his price because it was never going to look like his tattoo, and it didn't matter who did it. It was never going to look like it, and there weren't enough people doing that style of tattoos to where you could be like, I'm not going to pay that. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to get the same looking tattoo. There wasn't enough, but that was back in
1902.
Back easily in the 40s, 50s.
Yeah.
And I think that there were older tattoo artists that still had that mindset of like, well, fine, go to somebody else, but they're not going to do it as well as I am.
Okay.
But anyway, going back to my point, yes, they're going to lose a lot of money because of how much money they're making for their costs.
Yeah.
But also, all tattoo artists are artists.
True.
So, like, I feel like even if you're not making art, like as far as like painting and stuff, which a lot of tattoo artists sell their own paintings and stuff like that, and I've seen some of the most phenomenal artwork come out of tattoo shops. But that creative mind never shuts off. It's not like, oh, I'm not tattooing anymore, so I don't know how to see this world. And so I don't know. I feel like tattoo artists are going to be fine. I think that they just need to realize that they're not going to be as comfortable for a while as they are right now.
You paid how $600 for that? Are you nuts?
Yeah. And they're and I will most certainly say money is worth it for the quality. But also, I've gotten, and Cheryl is a good example of this. You also get fucked on what people set their price at.
Yeah.
And and unless you have a personal tattoo artist that you go to, you've been going to for years, you like their style, they know your style. Like, unless you have that for years, you're basically guessing. Every tattoo artist that has a book, that's their best shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the 100, 200 shitty tattoos that they've done over the time of them tattooing. That is their best work over time. So you're walking into a tattoo shop looking at that book of, they've been tattooing 10 years. You're looking at maybe 6 or 7 big tattoos. That's nothing. That's like 3 days to somebody. So you're not seeing all the shitty tattoos. So you're basically guessing. You're going, oh, this looks really good. They can do mine. And you're waiting for them to get done to look at it and be like, well, yeah, that looks kind of close, or that looks like kind of okay, or whatever.
So I here's a question, since I'm not tattoo literate. So let's use Cheryl's wings.
Yeah.
So if somebody said, okay, this is what Cheryl says, this is what I want. Mm-hmm. And the guy says, or girl says, that'll be $600. Mm-hmm. And then you get halfway through and, well, I can only do part of it today, and then part of it next Saturday, and then part of this is going to take some time to do. And you're halfway through and say, well, this is going to cost more than what I said it was. Does that happen? And you're going to say yes. And so therefore, my question is, okay, if I'm going to have you do that, something that elaborate, I want a contract that says, and this is where I'm going with, check this out. And I want a contract that says, here's the drawing, this is what I want to do, and this is what you said you would charge me, and this is how long you said it would take. And here's the kicker, because I got a business thing that just happened at work. And if you do not fulfill, then I get this. Mm-hmm. So what happened at work, and I'm trying to relate this into this, is so we had a customer that canceled on us. Mm-hmm. But thankfully, and I don't know that Psalm does this, I'm assuming Johnsonville does. We had a customer that canceled on us. So with no notice. Mm-hmm. But in that contract, it says, you are responsible for every finished good that you have on the shelf of yours. You are responsible for 3 months worth of raw material inventory and everything that goes along with it. I know. Nice. And I had said this for a long time. I said, somebody should do this. Well, we did it, I guess. And so we were told, it's kind of funny, kind of a longer story than I wanted to tell you. But that's what the contract says. And they were willing to do it. Okay, we will pay you for everything. We just want out. Okay. The problem with that is we are in a very busy season right now, and we scheduled you for the next 3 months. Mm-hmm. And now you're not in that schedule anymore. And what do we do? Mm-hmm. So they took stuff from July, August, September and moved it up. Now to me, I'm like, I can't, I don't have, caps and jars and but I thought that was cool. And we're trying, I think we all can figure out how to fix it. But I thought that was cool that they are now putting out contracts that says you're responsible.
You owe us.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they have to pay it.
Well, and that's the problem with, and like I said, that I have a shop that I know does good, solid work. Like you can see it on the tattoo, and I don't. Luckily.
Oh, stop for a second, and you, I'll say Cheryl, and Cheryl's expected to come up with that money up front.
Yep.
I don't get that either.
It's
if you give me a shitty job, why should I pay $600 or whatever that number is?
And it's at the end of the day too. Like Cheryl's wing being a good example. So, in again, this goes with trusting your tattoo artist. Which again, if you don't have a long-term tattoo artist, you're kind of just guessing. But the drawing for her wings was solid. It was solid. It looked solid. The outline, it looked solid. But he didn't put the shading. He didn't put what it would look like. He just did the outline for it. And he goes, "This looks good, right?" And she told him, she's like, I want a kind of lighter shading on it because I want to do a full like dark black raven wing on the other side. Because that was supposed to be the dove side. So it's a very light, like white. Didn't, if you've seen it, it didn't end up that way. But he didn't put any of the shading. So you're kind of trusting that you telling him your thought process is going to translate to what it is. And because most tattoo artists, which is good that they do it this way because it's a good process, most tattoo artists would do all the lines first and then do minor shading.
Yeah.
Especially like because hers is her whole arm. They'll do minor shading the next time, and then the third time after that, or however long you sit, they'll start doing the actual hard shading and finishing it up. She never got the shading done because he started with that. He did, like, you can, on her back, because it goes all the way up her arm and on her back. On her back, you can see that it's not even outlined. It's just shaded to where it should be. Because he didn't do the full out. He did the full outline on this part. But then, like, where it connected on her back, he just started shading. And again, you can't really, at the time, you're kind of just, one, you're in pain. But two, you're kind of just, like, trusting, okay, eventually it's going to look like what I told him.
Mm-hmm.
And so that happened. He said it'll be roughly about this much. It'll be about 3 sessions, right? So we're like, okay, we can do that. So I paid the upfront. First session, paid it. Second session, paid it. And these were like 10-hour sessions. Like, and Cheryl sat through the whole, like, to the point where she was shaking, which most tattoo artists will tell you that's about the time you should stop. But
yeah.
Cheryl wanted to get it done because the plan was to get it done before we got married. She wanted the entire thing done before we got married. So she started 2 months out. And then you got to allow time for it to heal till the next time, whatever. But she sat through 2 10-hour sessions. He originally told us it was going to be under $3,000 for the entire thing. 2 10-hour sessions and no outline on any of the back part.
Oh, stop. In writing?
No.
Okay. Keep going.
But that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying about the whole process is that 2 10-hour sessions under $3,000 is what he told us. And we're like, okay, cool. No firm outline on it at all. If you look at it, like, it has a couple, but most of it's shading. Nothing on the back, and no white, which there was supposed to be white in there to brighten it up because it was supposed to be a dove wing.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing, and then the third time, I think she sat for like 4 hours because all of it was so condensed into that like month-and-a-half period that she was just tired after that. And he wanted an extra $1,200 to finish it out. So we had already paid almost $3,000 for what she has. And then he was like, well, I got to do the rest of the outlines and I got to do the white. And it'll be another like $1,500. And Cheryl was like, you know what? No.
Fuck this noise.
I'm good. No, I'm good. Because it is. It's that perpetual, like, I guess we're going to need it. And he would take breaks. She sat for almost 10 hours straight twice. And he would take breaks every hour. He would be like, oh, I need a break. Oh, we need a break. Oh, which pushes out the time.
Yeah.
Because you're getting paid.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying.
You're getting paid by hour.
It's not 10 hours.
It's not 10 hours.
It's like maybe 8.
Yeah, but you're pushing it out to where you can be like, oh, well, we did a 10-hour session today.
No, that's bullshit because you were outside taking smoke breaks all the time.
So like I said, I would over time of me doing this, I would tell people anybody who doesn't just want a quick tattoo, anybody who wants like sleeves like I do, or like over time, I would say find a tattoo artist that one works for you in style wise. Like you like, I haven't found somebody here that has the style of tattoos that I want anymore. The tattoos that I have right now and the ones that I'm gonna get aren't the style that I like. Well, I mean, tattoos I have are the style I like, but as far as like tattoos I've gotten from shops aren't the style that I like. I like new school tattoos. I like cartoony. I love it, and I haven't found anybody here that does it well enough for me to do it.
I'd like to change the world.
Oh yeah?
I'd like to
Starting with
anybody listening that would like to get a tattoo. I would like them to approach a tattoo artist and say, okay, let's write up a contract and see who goes, what?
Yeah.
And who goes, okay, I live by my work. I live by my word. And there has to be the disclaimer at the bottom that if you don't do what you say you will,
you refund me the amount.
See, that's bad too, because they could just say, screw you, I'm not refunding you anything.
Well, yeah, but they can't take the tattoo off.
But what you could do is, okay, so the tattoo you're quoting me a tattoo. And you know what? I'm going to go to several places and get quotes.
I think that's not a bad idea.
And the quote, oh, you're over time.
Yeah.
And the quote, and not that I'm going to sell I'm not going to take the quote and say, well, this guy said this, but the quote has to say, you know what? You get paid when this is done, not you get paid when you're halfway through. And if ink is your issue and you got to pay for that, okay, I'll give you 20%, and then I pay the whole thing when it's done. Or
that for sure, because like even people that do that, because the tattoo shop that I go to does that. They quote you and then you pay after the whole thing's done. But I would agree if it's multiple sessions, because I've never had multiple sessions really. I mean, my ribs was the biggest, and it's like my whole ribs, and I sat for the whole 8 hours for that, so I didn't have to come in for another time. It's not done. It was supposed to be colored, but after that, after 8 hours of my ribs, I was like, fuck that. I'm good. I hate black and gray tattoos. I'm a very colorful tattoo person, but after 8 hours on my fucking ribs, fuck that. But
wussy.
Dude, I tell people all the time, I'm like, I can deal with a lot of pain, and I can deal with a lot of pain. So and everybody said it too. The ribs is the worst part. Everybody said it, and I was like, dude, I've had tattoos like everywhere. I even had my neck done before I got that, and I was like, it's fine. But I think the part, and I've explained this to people, I think the part that's bad about the ribs is that not only does it hurt, even if you're a bigger guy like me, but it hits that ticklish spot. So not only are you in pain, but your body's also like convulsing because it's hitting that ticklish spot. And if you do that for fucking 8 hours, where you're like, fuck that.
Nice.
No. Anyway, but I tell people all the time, luckily the shop that I go to now, not the one that did Cheryl's wing or
didn't
some of my other tattoos, but the tattoo shop I go now, they do that. They quote you, and then at the end they go, all right, this is how much it'll be. But also there's no contract, so it's not like I can, theoretically they could sue me, because I can walk out with the tattoo. It's already done. I can be like, fuck you guys, and
run.
But also, likewise, I can't be like, I'm not paying that. It looks like shit.
Yeah, true. Yeah, but it should go both ways somehow.
I don't know how you would make that happen.
So here's the picture you drew. Does it look like this? I say no.
But that's kind of...
Let's put it on Facebook Live, and if you like it, I pay it. If you love it, then I don't.
But that's kind of what I was saying. You're kind of trusting the tattoo artist that you have, because most tattoo artists, and I would love to get. I have I have a handful of really famous tattoo artists that I would really like to get a tattoo for. There's no way now I'm going to make the money to do that. Because any of the tattoo artists I want tattoos from, I would have to fly there. Plus, they're fucking expensive for a good reason.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a tattoo artist that works in LA that does mostly freestyle tattoos. So he doesn't make a stencil. He doesn't make a picture. He basically takes a Sharpie and like does not even a full picture with like shading and shit. He just does like kind of the outline. Mm-hmm. And it's like, this is kind of what it's going to look like. And then he tattoos it. And they look great. They look awesome. But that point being that's what most tattoo artists do on a smaller scale, to where they don't give you full detail on the stencil or what they show you. So you're basically trusting them that it might look like this or it may not.
Yeah. Anyway. Again, a reason to have it in a place where they can't see it, because that sucks. So happy Father's Day ink version.
Yeah. I do. Do you have any tattoos that you still want that you have thought about?
The ring thing?
Yeah.
Only for your mom, because I'm not a jewelry person at all. It bugs me. So I would do that for her. I thought about a wrist one.
Speaking of, you didn't ask me a lot of questions. Talk for like almost an hour and a half, and you didn't ask me a lot of questions.
I let you talk.
Is it fine?
I thought about a wrist one.
I thought this was going to be my time.
But I don't know. I don't know what it would be. I thought about something like but I don't know what it would be. But nah, it's not I got to do this kind of thing.
Mm.
So no.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you a question. But,
well, ask away.
Well, I was going to say, do you think that there are tattoos that people would never ask what the reason for was? Like, do you think that most people look at a tattoo and go, "Oh, I know what that's about"?
No, I think most people will look at a tattoo, regardless of what it is, and ask about the story. Because, even if it's like a Superman tattoo, okay, I get who Superman is, but why did you want it on your arm? So they kind of tell a story. They don't tell the story. They're opening up a dialogue to ask for you to tell your story. So
I have obviously.
I mean, people look at your arm and go, "What the hell's 956?"
Yeah, that's one. I have a lot of them, but that's one that surprisingly I never get asked about.
Really?
Ever. I never get asked about this whatsoever. I get asked about almost every one of my tattoos except for this one. Huh. And I don't know why. I don't know if people are just like, well, whatever. But it's just so weird because, like, I mean, obviously, like I've said, there's a lot of my tattoos that mean a lot of things to me, but this one specifically, probably I'd say top 5 out of all of my tattoos mean the most to me. It's the one that nobody, like, everybody's just like, whatever.
Yeah. Oh well.
But there's ones like this one I get the most if people see it. The Iowa with the 8 in it, that's the one I get the shit the most about.
Really? Because
people see the 8 and think it's an 8 ball. And they're like, oh. And it's not. It's the 8 for Slipknot.
Yeah.
For Corey Taylor. Mm-hmm. And it's always like, I love this tattoo so much. I've redone it like 3 times. But that was like an impulsive tattoo originally. But I was like, also, like, I always like having that mindset of remembering where I came from. Mm-hmm. And I always have that deep rootedness, even though we moved when I was 10 or 11, 12, something like that, mm-hmm. 11 or 12. I still have that deep rootedness there. And I like having that, and having with how much deep rootedness I have in being from Iowa, and then how much love I have for Slipknot and how much love Corey Taylor has for being deep rooted.
I thought you were gonna say Corey Taylor has for me.
Had deep rooted, and I just always loved that. There is a tattoo that I want to bring up, and then we can stop. Okay. We have been talking for a lot, but there is a tattoo that I want to bring up because nobody asked me about this. Not they need
anarchy.
No, it's not. It's the angel sigil for Gabriel.
Really?
And I got this because there's a movie called Legion.
As he looks into the camera.
There's a movie called Legion. It's one of the greatest, in my opinion, it's one of the greatest movies ever. It's about Gabriel. It's about Gabriel coming down to Earth and there being him protecting this child because there's a kid, there's a woman that is going to have a child and fucked up circumstances, not the best person in the world. It's really good. You should watch it. It's a really good movie. But the whole premise is that he needs to protect this child because this child is going to grow up and start the, I guess, saving of the world. Because the world's being taken over by the plagues and shit like this, and demons and shit. And he's going to be the one to start kind of the revolution. And so Gabriel comes down, and it's a really good fucking movie. But I got that because I love that premise of that movie. Of it's not about where you came from or what your background is or who you are as a person. Like, there is still hope that it can turn around. And so I got that because I really like that.
Cool.
So I was just going to bring that up because it's one that everybody thinks of, that of like anarchy. Yeah. Like I just fucked up the anarchy.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. It's the angel sigil for Gabriel.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool. Anyway, thanks for talking.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah.
I'll come down whenever you want me to.
Really? You hang out. You can do it on Fridays if I have a Friday off.
What are you doing here? I thought we could do another podcast.
I thought we could.
I got no place else to go.
I thought we could drink in the garage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go.
I was gonna say that if I have a Friday off though, since Friday is your drinking day.
It's in my garage, not yours though.
We can do it in your garage.
That's fine.
I said this to Megan. It looks better this way for the camera than it does this way.
Really?
It looks more spacious. It looks more spacious this way.
What about the Christmas thing?
That was mine. I fought to have that candy cane. The pink candy cane?
Yeah.
We did a pink Christmas. Because Cheryl let me have a pink Christmas. And I saw that at Walmart and she goes, no. I was like, it's a big pink candy cane.
Speaking of drinking in the garage, I think we're going to do that tonight. We're going to, your mom.
But it's not Friday.
I know. But your mom said, so what are we doing tonight? And I said, I don't know. Go watch a movie or whatever. And I said, do you have beer? And she said, yeah. And she goes, whatever happened to those little bottles? Because remember that the one thing I did with the little bottles? Oh, this tastes good. And then she would take, we bought like 10 of them. And I'm pretty sure unless somebody stole them, they're still in the very top shelf of my pantry. And I said, we could do that tonight. She goes, let's do that. Let's get on camera and start drinking. So
let's drink on camera and see where it goes.
Exactly.
Well, thanks for coming.
Oh, I got something for you. Speaking of drinks, that even your mom liked. So when we were in Beloit, I don't know if I told you this, there's a drink that somebody served me in a bar in Janesville called WTF.
Mm-hmm. It's Cheryl's.
Salted watermelon, Old Smoky salted watermelon, and Monster peach tea.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I got that thinking that's what I'd make. And she goes, oh, did you? I go, yeah. She goes, do you want me to make you one? Yeah. So she made me one and I'm drinking it. She goes, can I have a taste? And she's drinking her beer, And I said, yeah, that's really good. And then she ended up making herself one. And then she ended up having me make herself another one. She goes, this is really, really good. So I might have got her hooked up.
This is bad. That's what happened to me the first time.
The downer and the upper.
That was what happened the first time with me with Jack Apple. I was like, well, let's see how this goes. And I poured it in. And I was like, can't even taste the apple. I'll have another. I'll have another one.
I'll have another one.
I can't taste the Jack. This is great. I got the first time I ever bought Jack Apple. I went through an entire bottle in a night. because
maybe it tastes like apple at the bottom.
It didn't taste like alcohol. It was just, granted, I normally mix it with shit too, so it kind of tastes. But it was. I told Cheryl that first time I bought Jack Apple and that happened, I went through the whole thing in a night. I was like, "Ooh, this is bad. This is a bad one to have."
Did you have the hangover?
No. No. I've literally never had a hangover.
Nice.
Mainly because I kind of catch myself, even if I like throw up or whatever, I normally catch myself before. My birthday was the first time I blacked out. I've only blacked out 3 times.
Woo!
Hold on, I'm not for how much
I'm pretty much a bragger right now.
For how much I've drank. That's a fucking accomplishment.
True.
But normally I can catch myself to the point of like, even when I'm drunk, I'm like, okay, I'm still yeah. I can at least make it to my bed right now.
Nice.
Anyway, thanks for having. Thanks for talking.
Thanks for inviting. I gotta get up. Look, bell mark.